The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey, I don't know what's happening. Hey everyone. This is Christine, and this is 50 Shades of Bullshit. Today, we have a very interesting topic. We are going to be discussing a very a topic that is, I think, very important. So we're going to have Janice Formichella with us today. Hello, Janice.
Hello, my dear. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to talk about, I have a little intro here about the show. We talk a lot about how domestic abuse destroys romantic relationships, but we don't talk enough about how it also damages friendships and other relationships in your life. When someone is in an abusive situation, isolation becomes part of the control. So today we have podcaster, writer, and advocate, Janice Formichella. She's joining me to discuss her article, Let's Talk About It, 5 Ways to that Domestic Abuse Corrodes Friendships, and how we can better understand and support both survivors and their friends through that difficult process.
Wow.
Happy to have you, Janice.
Yes, thank you so much. And everyone, it's on my website, janiceformichella.com. It kind of took me a couple months to finally put it together and publish. So yeah, I'd love it I'm really glad that you wanted to talk about this. It means a lot.
Yeah, it was really a well-written article, and both you and I are well adverse to this type of topic. So I was very excited to have this as our topic today. Let's go with you, Janice.
Yes.
We have talked a lot about how both you and I on this show have been in domestic violence situations. We were both in a long-term relationship, married, etc., to men who were abusive. And we're going to talk about the friendship element of this, or other family members kind of element of this. And tell us a little about, your thoughts on this, Janice, and how it really affected your life. I have a bunch of stories too, but we'll get to that.
Well, I will say so I was divorced and then met my abuser, and it was a very classic situation in that he had a lot of the qualities that my husband lacked, or that I had been really wanting in the marriage. But most of all, he was I was not his first target. I was not the first woman who he had dated, who he had done this to. And I think he just kind of knew what he was doing. I got very classically love bombed and just was completely, what I would call at the time, swept off my feet. Even my healthiest friends were saying, this was just such a great opportunity. This guy is such a catch. And so before I knew it, I was not only in an exclusive relationship with him with a promise ring that I did get appraised for $8,000, by the way.
Hope you sold that motherfucker.
That's all. Another story about how that aspect of it unraveled. But I had also moved overseas to be with him within only about 6 months. And I already knew that there were some issues. He had stayed with me in New York. It had gotten violent pretty early on. But then just so classically, I'm in another country. I was Miss Popularity when I was living in New York. I had everything going for me in the world. This amazing, enormous, juicy, supportive group of friends. And it was just like bit by bit by bit by bit, it all started crumbling around me. The first time that he became very, very physically abusive, I told maybe 3 or 4 of my friends about it. Of course, everyone's shocked, told my parents as well. Everyone is shocked, encourages me to leave. And of course, in the heat of the moment, I say I'm going to and do. And a week later, everyone's texting me wondering what's going on because they haven't heard from me. Well, that would be because I had decided to go back with him. Yeah. And so then we stayed together another year. And by the time I finally left for good, the police had actually gotten involved. He was put in jail for what ultimately ended up happening. And by that time, hardly any of them were still with me. And
can we talk about something really quick before you move on with that thought, Janice? Because I do want people to understand that you can be in a abusive relationship like this, and when you leave, you have every intention of never going back. But you got to understand how skilled these people are who are abusers, because when you're talking about a relationship like this, they charm everybody around them, and everybody thinks that they are the cat's meow. Everybody thinks that these are perfect people, and they're very, very good at it. They're con men, basically. And you gotta also get it that when we leave and we have every intention of being gone, the reason why we go back is because these fools get a hold of us again and convince us in our pained, damaged bodies and minds. Okay. They have got us convinced because we really want it to be this way. They convince us that they will change. They will never do it again. They are really sorry. They're very humbled. They would never, ever do it again. And then we come back and it happens again. And it is a cycle that repeats itself very destroyingly. I don't know the other word.
And quickly. And and in my case, he was an alcoholic who had first of all, he would bawl like a baby, begging me to come back after the first time. And yes, of course, apologizing a lot. But then it became also, I can't live without you. Threats against his life if I didn't come back. His family got involved, encouraging me to go back. Horrifyingly enough, my parents had been very charmed by him, and even though they knew what happened, believe it or not, my dad encouraged me to go back to him.
I can see that, especially, you come from a Mormon background. They're all about preserving the family,
and a little bit of social currency also, because he was wealthy. He went to Cambridge. We were living in Frankfurt, and I think there was something very appealing about that to my dad. But that's I'm not here to talk about that. But
but so tell us. No, I'm sorry. I did not mean to cut you off.
I'm just saying, my family aside, but by the time, that I left, I had stopped talking to almost everyone. The people who I considered to be my closest circle were just nowhere to be seen.
Why do you think that is?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. And even at the time, I felt a little sorry for myself in a way, because, I'm now moving from Europe back to the States, and I have no friends. There was some financial manipulation. And so I had hardly any money in my bank account. My resources has sort of dwindled in various ways. And so now I'm living with my folks again, so that kind of sucked. So I felt sorry for myself in that regard, because who wants to, live with these dickheads when you're like 35 or something, but I never really was that angry at my friends. I have to say, I
Yeah.
always felt like I wish people would have fought harder for the friendship, but at the same time, I'm not sure what I would have done, type of thing. And I
Well,
could totally see their side from the very beginning. And
so-
that's why I wrote this article, because we don't talk about the fact that, how do you be there for someone who's in an abusive situation? Yeah, you
Yeah,
can, and you can
you can.
try, but you can also have your own, you can also be knocked down in so many ways when you try to have some toxic person in your own life.
I have a couple of thoughts on that. I think a lot of people underestimate how emotional manipulation can affect friendships. That it's like it's not always about control at home; it's control in the entire environment, and it's heartbreaking to realize that a survivor's friends often feel pushed away when they really need to stay more connected, because sometimes friends take that distance personally, not realizing that it's part of the abuse.
Yes, that is one thing. Yes, that can happen, is
Yeah.
isolation, and not hearing from someone for a while is one aspect of why friends there can have distance can be created between friends, is just the mere isolation. That's
Listen,
just one way, though.
I've talked about, my daughters on this podcast. I haven't talked about them in a while. I do have a distant relation. I don't have a relationship with one of my daughters because she is in this type of situation, and he has cut her off, separated her from a friend group, her sisters, her family, and hardly anybody gets to speak with her anymore. And it's kind of a little rough. Today's my granddaughter with her. It's her birthday today. So, it's moments like this that, the family's out here, the friends are out here wanting to be part of it. And sometimes we're thinking that it is the person that is shutting us out, but it's really not. It's the abuser who's making that impossible for them to stay connected.
Yeah, and I will say, if you truly think that a friend of yours is in an abusive situation and you don't hear from them, keep trying. The thing is, like, that's so hard to do when you don't feel like it's a two-way situation.
Right.
But don't. This is not something to take personal.
Right.
But at the
right.
same time, you're a human being. Like, friendships are supposed to be, reciprocal. And so that's why I wanted to write the article, because I don't put blame on almost anyone. I would say I have probably a couple harsh things I'd say to maybe one person involved here, but mostly I just think that people were just pushed to their wits' end, didn't know what to do, gave me all the good advice in the world, only to see me go back. The friendship wasn't being kept up, and it dwindled away. I don't want to be friends with somebody who's not giving back to me, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, but when you know that a friend is in that kind of situation and they're pushing you away, I mean, it only makes logic that you would, try to be there as much as possible in any way that you can. And even if it's just a reassurance to let them know that they have someone there, that you're not going anywhere, no matter what is happening, you will always be there. And when they're ready, you're gonna, go into action.
But also on my part, I will say that when I did finally, so I must have left 4 times, to be honest. And the violence, as you know, got worse each time. And so the first couple times, people are like, we got you, we'll do anything for you. This is shocking. You're in danger. But then the third time, what do you do? It feels like it's not even a thing, even though the abuse was actually getting worse and more violent. I think people just kind of became numb to it, and also just didn't feel like anything's going to happen anyways. So they weren't as invested and engaged with it.
That just scares the shit out of me. I would, I've been there, so I would never, ever, ever abandon them. Listen, my daughter doesn't speak to me. but I noticed a while ago that she hasn't blocked me on her phone. And
Okay.
so I send her messages all the time,
Oh,
just
okay.
saying how proud I am of her, how she's, a great mom, how much she's loved, and that no matter what, we're here for her. Even if it means we never hear until she's ready, I'm fine with that. I'm not fine with any of it, but
Your
you
situation is so different from mine. We should do another episode about the mom wound.
Mm, yeah,
Okay.
we should. Actually, I don't have anybody on my 4-year anniversary episode. We should do that.
I would love to, because we're on complete opposite sides of the scenario, and so I think that could
Right.
be very healing for both of us.
I think so too. What do you think are some of the subtle ways that abusers manipulate friendships to keep control over their partners?
Well, the isolation is like
Mhm,
kind of an obvious thing. I
mhm.
never really I would have thought I would move to Europe, but it just felt like the most obvious thing in the world when he presented it to me. I had a thriving life in New York, and I think, and actually when he first asked me to be exclusive, he's saying he's going to move there.
Oh,
Boom.
that's it's
He was
manipulation.
never
Yeah.
never going to move to New York. So
Mhm.
that would definitely be one thing. I also think like he had a really subtle way, and this didn't really get to me, but I saw him try, is
Mm.
that he would talk shit about everyone. He didn't like a single person that I was friends with. And that didn't affect me. I had kind of started to not take his opinion to heart pretty quickly. But I saw him trying to do that.
Mm.
But then also making you reliant on the person so that you don't feel like you can rely on anyone else.
Right.
You're just completely reliant on this person for
Yes.
all of your basic needs, even emotional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They really make it to where you are their only support
Yep.
financially,
Mhm.
emotionally, mentally, physically. I mean, just everything they do makes it to where you can't survive without them. At least they try to make you feel that way.
And I did feel that way because I had
Yeah.
no friends. My money was in his account. I didn't have my own apartment. And so, yeah, I didn't really think I had anyone to lean on except him. Mm.
My ex-husband that did this to me, used to go and pick up my checks at my job. This is before direct deposit. Okay. This is, 30 some years ago. And, he used to go and pick up my checks and deposit them, but he would deposit them in his own personal account. And, I wasn't allowed to be on an account. And then I had no money. So
Yeah, I
and
had a very similar situation
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like putting all of my money into the insurance for his car, only to find out right before we broke up that the reason why he couldn't get his own insurance is because he had too many DUIs.
Uh,
That was never mentioned.
of course,
I was
of
just
course.
kind of talked into doing this thing because it's going to help me to get residency. Yeah.
Yeah. What do
Mhm.
you think are some common mistakes that friends make when they're trying to help?
I can't necessarily speak to that. I have to be honest, because in my case and in so many, you try so hard in the beginning, and people say just listen, just be there, don't judge. And I actually think that's what a lot of people do. That's what
Judge.
almost everyone no, that's what everyone did for me. Everyone was just like,
Yeah.
what can we do? I'm here for you. This is awful. Like, this sounds like a complete nightmare, but I'm still here for you. It's just like they got completely drained of their energy, in the year after.
Yeah. I
Mm.
think friends should just this is hard. It's hard for me to explain how I think people should behave in situations
Yeah.
like this because I see a logic to it that I don't understand how others don't. Um, let me tell you, when I think it was about 4 times that I left as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
None of the abuse for me started until we got married. Um,
Mhm.
and it happened the week we got back from our honeymoon, and it was terrible. Um, the police Utah was where I lived. And when I would call them to say, hey, my husband's trying to murder me, they would come and get him. And we lived in the same apartment complex as his mother, just in a different building. And they
Same, by the way.
Take him down to her place and drop him off and call it house arrest and tell him he's not supposed to go near me. Well, the minute they left, he was back down there.
Yeah.
The family did not help at all on his side at all. They were just happy that the abuse wasn't happening to them anymore. Did not tell me that he was abusive to them. They just thought that because he wasn't abusing me when we were dating and he wasn't abusing them, that he would then just be not abusing anybody that I was.
Oh, my ex's family was so pro us staying together because they didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
So for me, when I would leave, he would do all these things. I would stay with a friend of mine, and I gave him an ultimatum, and I just said, hey, you have a certain amount of time. By this date, I picked a date, and I said it was 6 months into the marriage that the date was from. And I just said, hey, if you don't get help, like real help, like get into therapy, get, counseling, and you get it on your own, not me getting it for you.
Totally.
Because that's a big deal. I said, I'll stay. Otherwise, I'm leaving on this date. And I chose to leave on that date. A lot of really horrible things happened on that date. That was an excruciating day for me that I have to live with for the rest of my life.
Right.
But I'm good with it now. I'm good. The thing about it is that friend that I would go to, she decided she was going to move with me because I needed to get out of the state. I needed to leave fast. So she decided to move with me, and she lived with me for about 3 months in this other state. And she decided she was going to go back to Utah and not live out there anymore. She didn't really like it. She didn't really love it. And I was getting situated. I was being, I was in a good,
pretty sure
better
it's a
place.
better state, but
so I was doing a little better. And she decided to go back. And when she went back, she decided to befriend my ex.
Oh my God.
And became friends with him and his family and pretty much told him a bunch of crazy lies about me and what I was doing and I don't know, trying to survive. I was pregnant from that last day that I was there. Take that as you may. And, I had to do a lot of surviving, a lot of like getting my head up and moving forward because I had somebody else to take care of at that point. But my friend abandoned me and went to the other side, to the enemy, and was friends with him.
I'm glad that you speak this because I didn't experience that with my abusive situation. He had no friends, which women of the world who are listening to this, if you date someone who doesn't have friends, do not tell yourself that it's because they're an academic or quirky or addicted to their job. This is a red flag. Okay.
Yeah, it really
so
is.
in this situation, that didn't come up. But I will say, as far as like mistakes that friends can make when you have a friend going through something like this, or even just a bad breakup, I don't care what the politically correct thing to say or do is, take a side. Like, seriously, have the courage to stand up for your friend. Yeah, you might be friends with both of them. So the fuck what? Your friend needs you right now. You need to, draw a hard line. Be there for the person who needs you. Be there for the person you're closer to.
Yeah. And if
Yeah, and I'm sorry. During
you're
my
not going to be closer
divorce,
to the abuser.
so I don't know.
Abusers like
During
that
my
don't really have.
divorce, I think I've told you this a couple times. My ex was in like a popular local band, and I was amazed to find out that my friends were still going to his shows, and also heartbroken. And I've seen
I
Red
would be.
twice. I've seen Red twice in my life, and that was, I think, the first time that I saw Red is when I found out about that. And
I
I
would
know
be
what that's
livid.
like to be that furious.
It's damaging for your psyche
Oh yeah.
because you look at it and think, wait a minute, they're supporting that abuser knowing full well what they did to you, and they have the balls to do that. It's like
Well, and I
politically
had
right
gone
now.
to them and like told them about how bad the relationship was and everything that he was doing to me and how tortured I was and how I didn't want to go
Right.
home at night, and I would walk around the block, so that maybe he would be asleep or too high when I got home. And yeah, to discover this, take a side. I will never say that I'm staying neutral in a breakup if my friend is going through.
Yeah.
No, there's no such thing. I'm sorry. Either you take a side or you have no courage and no integrity.
I personally think friends need to, learn that they can be a safe place without judgment. And if they can't do that, they're not your friends. They really aren't. And sometimes the best thing that anyone can say is, hey, I'm here whenever you're ready. Because getting ready to do that is a massive thing. It's not just emotionally and mentally, it's also being able to have uh, the I don't know the word. It feels like it's a full body thing. It's impossible to explain how hard it is to be ready for that and to know that you have no money and you have no means of going somewhere. I mean, for me, I got lucky. My family, some of my family came to Utah from Wyoming and threatened him. Said, "You do it again, this is going to be a big thing." It stopped for like a couple weeks and then it started up again. And that's when I knew it was time to go. And then, it was time to go when I found out I was
My God, I can't imagine.
pregnant. Because I knew I had to save my child. That's all there was to it. I had to save myself and save my child because I knew that he would kill us. I knew it. The thing about it is that I got lucky enough to where my family drove out and spent a few hours grabbing everything that we could for me and that was mine and left. And it was my cousin that helped me move out here. Thank heavens for that. Otherwise, I don't know where I would have gone. I don't know. I stayed with family, friends in Colorado. They helped me get on my feet. Um, I just, I don't know. It was really a hard thing to get through. And when you don't have your friends there for you, it's like, where the fuck do you turn? You have to be able to.
A year and a half before all this started, I could have had, a wonderful place to stay in multiple states. And also, not to mention the fact that I was living in New York City. I had no one I could call. And it's not just because they were worn out, Christine, but I was so embarrassed. I stopped reaching out to people, honestly. It was
embarrassing.
No, I was.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. I've been in that spot feeling like, how could I have could I have chosen somebody that fucked up, and how could I have not seen it? Well, I was damaged at the time too. I was not healed from my trauma. So when you come through trauma, you tend to pick people that are familiar. And unfortunately, that is other trauma until you can recognize it. When you start to recognize it, that's when you can, make a conscientious decision to
see the red flags next time. It's much easier said than done, though I did do it. I have to say, I did.
Yeah, me
it.
too. Eventually,
Yeah.
it took me lots of extra bad men to get there.
I swung the opposite way, actually. After this all went down, I became like the most avoidant person. Just any form of like any sign that that a man wanted to get close would just disgust me, for the couple years after that, because I don't know. I was too scared to get close myself.
I was under the impression that I couldn't do anything by myself, that I wasn't good enough to do everything by myself. So I felt like up until I started healing 4 years ago, I thought that I had to have a man in my life to save me, rescue me, do anything I needed to do. And after all these like 15 years of doing it by myself, constantly though thinking I had to find somebody to help me do it. And then I sat back and went, whoa, wait a minute. I just did it all by myself.
Well, that's so interesting, because when I met you, this is where you were at, like really wanting a relationship. But in my eyes, seeing you, I'm thinking you're the most independent woman out there. And so when we would talk about like going out to dinner by yourself, going to a bar by yourself, going on a trip by yourself, and you flat out told me you'd never done it, that feels weird. And I thought, of all the women, like, why is she so resistant to this? I thought that was so interesting.
Well,
because that's not how I saw you at all.
No, because what I showed the world was this competent, independent, got all of her shit together person. I was I'm really good at masks. My mask work is fucking prime. But
well, I always respected you, though I did come to know that was a deep desire of yours, and we've worked together on that.
We did, and here we are all these years later, 4 years later, and I'm traveling by myself. I am letting go of my condo. I'm letting go of all my jobs. I'm letting go of everything and just walking away. And
with what man?
Not one.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of me.
But you're stepping into the person and the human that you were. She was just waiting for you.
Right. She didn't know. She's been waiting a very long time.
Chills.
So tell us, Janice, how did you start to step through the trauma and start to heal and repair relationships, or be in a place where you could trust a relationship again? And I mean friendships, not so much male relationships. I'm talking about the friendships here.
That is such a loaded question that actually I wasn't really thinking of.
I'm good at loading.
So I will say that after this all happened, this is when, for people who follow me, that I moved to Australia. And I was very hesitant I kept on dating, but I wouldn't want the intimacy. I just would, want to be taken out and go on like shopping sprees and stuff.
Right.
But as soon as I'm like, you have feelings? I don't think so.
Right.
But then as far as friendships go, I surrounded myself with a lot of people, and kind of like spread the friendship and the love around, I will say. And that did kind of work for me for a while. But I will say then I became this really compulsive socializer where I just had to be with people all of the time. Yeah. And I think, and I can feel myself getting emotional, that was kind of a Band-Aid to put on what I was
100%,
what I was trying to avoid, the pain, being rejected by my friends, being rejected by my family, having, gone through this traumatic, violent experience. And really what got me to the point where I am now with actual deep friendships and my best relationship ever is I had to take a little while to be my own partner, be my own best friend, be my own best company, and get really, really, really good with that. And then I was able to offer anything else to anyone.
I get that. Now, first, I want to do a quick shout out to Phil. Thanks for coming and listening, Phil. We're
Hey,
happy
buddy.
to see you back.
Hey.
I also want to make a comment here about the fact that people can be abused mentally and emotionally and verbally without the physical violence.
You can.
And
That I had it all, and I have to
Right.
say, and I don't mean to interrupt, but yes, this is. I want to say this because people think that it's not abuse unless he hits you,
hit you.
and I cannot tell you the amount of times
That's
that people
frustrating.
have said, "Did he actually hit you?"
Oh my God.
Okay,
Makes me-
that's
that
another.
makes me see red.
No, though, like those exact words.
Yes.
But I will say, yes, all of that happened, and the physical
What were you
violence
wearing?
was terrifying. But what he put me through mentally and psychologically was
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
Was worse.
And I just wanted to make that comment about that because I think that it's one thing when friends and family watch you go through a physically abusive situation, but they don't seem to understand a lot when it happens just without the physical.
It was worse. It was worse.
It can be horrific because people don't really understand. They're like, oh, how abused can you really be if you're still there and he's not hitting you? And this can be the other way around. This could be a woman abusing a man. My nephew is being abused by his girlfriend, and he has been for years. And finally, he's getting to a place that he's done. And I'm the only one that's stuck by him. And he thanks me profusely. I give him my little advice. I say, listen, honey, this is always going to be this way. And I say my thing and he takes it, and I just say, I'm here if you need me. That's it. And then I back off and I let him come to me. But it is hard for people to understand what is happening when somebody's not being physically abused, or they don't even realize how bad it is. Some people don't even know their friends and family are being abused, and they just see them pulling away.
Yep.
Yeah. That's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. But again, like you might tell yourself that this is someone's pattern, that they do this when they're in relationships, because you don't really know. And that's why I wrote the article, is because I actually could see the other side of it so clearly. And I am not a person who plays the victim. I refuse. And so, yes, I lost some of the most important friendships that I've still ever had to this day, but I don't blame them for it. And I have to say, as I mentioned to you over text, I was in a similar situation recently where I did actually lose a friend because I couldn't stay friends with his partner. And yeah, I tried to hold on to it, but in the end, yeah, everything crumbled around me.
Yeah, healing friendships after abuse is really about courage, because it means choosing trust again, and it's really hard for some people.
Well,
to
yeah,
do
and
that.
like, how do you really come back from that? It's so hard. I mean, I would like to think that my front door would be open. I would do anything for this man if he came back to me. But I've been really, really hurt, by the whole thing. And I gave him everything that I had. This guy's complete, someone I would never even want to see again. Right. And yeah, could I trust him again? I'm sure he could trust me again.
Right.
Why not? Why wouldn't he? But I don't know.
I think it's hard because, grief goes both ways. There's a lot of grieving when you are in these types of relationships, but grief goes both ways because the survivor grieves who they were, and friends grieve the person that they lost.
Completely. Well, and that's something I said in the article, is another way that the friendship gets kind of chipped away, that you're used to seeing this person in like a certain light. When I got into this relationship, I was like the feminist icon. I did party promotion. People saw me as like this powerhouse, and like I feel emotional going into all of this. And so then these people who held me in such high regard and thought the world of me, saw me doing this to myself and in this completely different light. They, of course, their perception of me changed. I don't think people even knew how to relate to me.
No.
They had no respect for me. You know, like, you can't, it's hard to have a friendship with someone you don't respect.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's subconscious as well. Like, I don't think they said, oh, she's with him, I don't respect her. I think people are just like confused, and like slowly this happened.
When you have friends that have never been through something like this before, they don't understand what you're feeling, what you're going through, what it's like on that other side. So, it is hard for them. I think that a lot of them do lose respect or do have this problem with, looking at you and feeling like, like she even wants help. Of course, we want help. We don't even know how to do it ourselves, much less how do we accept it from our friends. And that's what the abuser is banking on. They're banking on the dissolving of the people in your life and the isolation, because the more they have you to themselves, the easier it is to keep you. And this is enjoyable for them. This is
very, very,
very enjoyable for them.
He never expressed one word of regret
over
they don't any know of how the friendships that I had lost, or people who had stopped returning my calls, or no, nothing. But that's great. They were shit anyways.
Right.
Well, right. Okay. But it was kind of important to me, but whatever.
Exactly. I do have some advice for listeners, and you're welcome to chime in here, Janice. I have 3 points: 1 for survivors, 1 if you're a friend, and 3 for everyone. So if you're a survivor, I have 3 points for you. Don't blame yourself for the friendships that faded. Isolation was part of the abuse. Start small, send a text, make a coffee plan, or write a message of gratitude for your friends if you want to try to keep that in. Real friends won't demand explanations. They'll meet you where you are. That's a big one. And we tend to think that our friends, abandon us. Well, I got to tell you, if a friend abandons you during this time, I'm not really quite sure how close of a friend they were.
Agreed, but also look at what your definition of abandoned is, and like what the actual narrative is. And that's kind of what I was trying to get at with this article, is like, let's look at both sides of things.
If you're a friend, here's some advice for you. Keep communication open without pressure. A simple thinking of you can mean more than you know. Don't try to fix your friend's situation. That's impossible. Focus on listening and affirming their worth. Please, that's the most important fucking thing. That makes me want to cry, actually. And avoid criticizing the abuser directly. Focus on your friend's safety and feelings, because that is also a big part of losing friends, is you're fearful of the safety. Phil says, does anyone who has survived abuse ever fully trust in future partners? Yes, when you heal.
Yeah. And that's why I was, it really benefited me to be single for so long, and also learn how to take relationships slow and be willing to walk away. It is possible. It did take me years, but I do now.
Yeah, I agree. For everyone, here's some advice. Understand that abuse isn't just physical, emotional, financial, and psychological, because abuse are equally damaging. Abuse is abuse. Encourage professional support, not just friendship. Therapy and survivor networks are vital. And the last one I have for that is, healing is slow, but every act of compassion rebuilds the bridge that abuse tried to burn. So that is my advice for today. I do know that it is vital to have friendships, especially when you're going through this kind of thing, because anybody who can try to hang in there with them, they will eventually leave, hopefully. But I think they do eventually leave.
In most cases, yes, but it could take years.
It could take years. I agreed.
And if it doesn't take years, it's going to be a lot of chaos, a lot of drama. And that's another thing, actually, that I put in the article, is that this is so taxing on people. When you are in some sort of, a physical altercation, when you are being abused, when you are having to like flee in the middle of the night, this is chaos. This is stressful for people to hear, to help you through, to try and come up with answers, to try and be there for you. This is very, very, very draining. And so when it's happening constantly, only to see you go back and then you're already exhausted because you just helped your friend. Now they're back. And what are you thinking now? Like, when am I going to have to go through this again? Like, I can't. Like, some people have to kind of walk away from the friendship because they're looking after their own well-being.
Yeah. But then I know what it was like to be in that situation and watch your friends walk away, and you think, I have no one, I have nowhere to go, I have nothing. Thank God I had the friend I had, who would take me in each time, and I'd say, I want to be gone, but I don't know what to do. He keeps sucking me back in, and I don't know what to do, and it's a difficult thing. I mean, she was great until she wasn't. And that was, when she abandoned me to be his friend instead, which was
I'm really sorry.
Fucking weird. All of a sudden I noticed there's something on my ceiling.
Is it the ghost of this person? You want
to
shoot some darts up there?
Yeah. So,
and I did have a friend who I'm still friends with, who Brant, he was with me during the time, and we're still very close today. So I do want to say, like, I did have someone, and it I don't know how he took it, because it was just chaos and drama in his ear just for weeks, and I don't know, he just refused.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
He refused to create any space with me at all. Even, sometimes when he wouldn't hear from me after I went to Australia, he would always poke in. So I do, and if he ever listens or sees any of this content, I want him to know it's everyone except you. But I did, hardly have any friends left, including like the person in my life who I thought I could actually like grow old and retire with, was one of my first friends to leave.
It's hard. And, my friends that were at a distance, that were in other states.
That was him.
They stuck in there with me.
Yes,
the ones
that was
were
totally
close
Brant.
That didn't.
Yeah. Good point. Actually, very good point.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's hard, because you're thinking, I just need someone to hug me right now. And then, your friends are at a distance. Thank God for my friends that were at least, in other states, saying, we're here for you. We're here for you. Yeah. And this is also before social media was big. I mean, social media now, it's a lot different. Women do. I have seen them going on social media, saying, hey, this is what I'm going through. And then and they get a lot of support emotionally, from people, and financially. A lot of people go onto social media and they are helped by other people. And I think that's incredible. But that wasn't for us back in the day.
No, but we got through it, and it has made us the blonde bombshells that we are today.
I am.
And the confident ones as well. I just definitely want to say, just real quick, I'm not one of the people who says that I'm thankful for what I went through because it made me into the person I am today. Fuck that. I did not need to be slapped around. I didn't need to be going down to no, precinct. And I have learned from it, but I will also say it's definitely not worth it. If you have someone going through this, please be there for them.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I will say my little 2 cents about where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
I actually am in a place in my life that I believe that I designed my life before I came here. I chose each thing because each checks and balance has changed my life. and made me incredible today. Today, I am an incredible motherfucking woman. I'm a great friend. I'm a great partner. I'm better mom. And my whole life has changed, and my whole drive is different. My whole experience is different. Without all those things that I went through, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So that's how I feel about and I respect how you feel.
I think I had a destiny
I've been
to
there.
be an amazing woman, and that maybe I didn't need to go through that to get here, but however I did it, hey, holla,
Right.
here I am.
Right. Aw, thanks for the love, Phil. We appreciate that. Well, I gotta say that, when we have such a good topic and the time flies, it's a bummer. But this was really an amazing topic, and I really appreciate your vulnerability in your
Thank
soul.
you.
I adore you as my friend and as a fellow person who can do these shows with me, because hopefully we can help somebody today. We have an incredible show next week.
Ooh,
I have Jessie Marie coming on, and
what is happening right now?
We're going to be talking about kink and sex toys and all that fun stuff.
I'm looking at my calendar. Okay, yay.
Yeah. So same time, same place next week. Thank you for being here, Janice. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And until next week, let's just keep this fucking shit real.
Peace out.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.